Today, I'm going to show you how I turned this active bubbly starter into this golden loaf using just 4 ingredients. We're starting with 550 grams of warm water and 270 grams of active sourdough starter. You'll grab your dough whisk and stir until the water looks cloudy. That's your starter waking up and saying, "I got you." Once you've stirred it and the water looks cloudy, you'll add 900 grams of flour. Bread flour is the classic, but honestly, if your soul says throw in a little bit of whole wheat, trust it, we're not robots here. You'll grab your dough whisk again and mix until there's no dry flour left. It's gonna look rough, like a dough that just rolled out of bed, and that's okay. This is what I like to call the glow up stage. I like to grab my scraper and I'll just scrape down the sides of my bowl, really making sure there's no dry flour left. You'll cover the bowl and let it rest for 30 minutes. This gives the flour time to hydrate and start developing gluten, a fancy way of saying the dough's getting its act together. Next, you'll use 20 grams of salt, sprinkle it right over the top, and add a splash of water just to help it dissolve. You're not being aggressive, you're bonding. Gently knead it in, squish, fold, and press. It's a dough's self-care. Time for my favorite part, stretch and folds. You'll do this every 30 minutes for the next 2-ish hours, so you should have roughly 3 to 4 sets total. You'll reach under the dough, stretch it up gently, fold it over itself, rotate the bowl, and do it again from all 4 sides. You'll notice the dough change. What starts off soft and floppy becomes smoother, springier, more confident. She's growing up so fast. Once your folds are done, it's time for bulk fermentation. I use a method called the bulk fermentation method. If you guys want a video on that, let me know in the comments, and I can make a separate video on how I like to do my bulk fermentation. Basically, what you'll do is you'll cover the dough and let it rise at room temp, usually for 4 to 6 hours, depending on how warm your kitchen is and the temperature of your dough. You'll know that it's ready when it looks jiggly and puffy with bubbles. I like to use a clear container so that I really can see all those bubbles on the sides. As a beginner, I find it super helpful. If you gently press the sides of the bowl, the whole dough should wobble like it has opinions, and it should pull off from the side very easily. What you'll want to do is you're going to want to dump your dough out onto the counter. As you can see, I know that my dough is really nicely fermented because it just pulls right off of that container. Once you've dumped your dough onto the counter, it's time to divide and pre-shape. The dough is fragile, but it's full of promises. You'll divide it into 2 equal pieces. Try to not overthink it and just eyeball it. Once you've divided it into 2 pieces, you'll loosely shape each piece of dough into a ball. It's not a final shape, so don't be too particular with it. Think of it almost as like a warm-up. Once both of your doughs are shaped into loose balls, let them sit uncovered for 15 minutes to relax. Yes, doughs need naps too. After your 15 minutes of relaxing are done, it's time for a shape. I like to use tension from the surface to shape it into a tight round, but just make sure you don't overdo it. It's not a wrestling match. You want bounce, not bruises. Place each one seam side up in a floured banneton or a towel-lined bowl. You'll cover it and cold-proof it in the fridge overnight or up to 48 hours. What this does is it helps the dough deepen in flavor, and it makes scoring the next day way easier. Once it's the next day, your dough is cold, rested, and ready for the spotlight. Preheat your Dutch oven at 450 for at least an hour. Flip your dough onto parchment paper, gently like you're waking up a sleeping baby. You'll score it with a razor or a lame. You can keep it simple with a single slash or really get creative with it. Bread art is real, and no 2 loaves are ever the same. As a beginner, it's something that I've really learned. I've never pulled out 2 loaves that look identical to one another. Sometimes I like to get creative and I'll add a little wheat stock. I'm still really practicing with my designs and getting more comfortable with it. Once your designs and your scoring is done, you'll grab your heated Dutch oven from your oven and you'll put your dough inside, cover the Dutch oven, and you'll bake the loaf for 20 minutes. After your 20 minutes is up, you'll uncover it and bake for another 20 minutes or until the crust is golden, blistered, and sounds hollow when tapped. Try to not cry. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, and the hardest part is letting it cool. I know it smells like a bakery built into heaven, but if you cut too early, the crumb will turn gummy and sad. Ideally, you'll want to let it cool for about an hour. Use this time to clean your counter, make tea, or stare lovingly at your creation. And that's it. You just made 2 loaves of sourdough from scratch. No machines, no stress, just flour, water, salt, and trust. Even if it's not perfect, it's still magic. If you try this recipe, tag me. I want to see your loaves, your flops, your glorious crusts, your tragic collapses, and all of it. Until next time, may your crust be crisp and your crumb be open and your dough never stick to your banneton.